Hi there, it's Ann O'Brien sharing with you today some meditation tips for receiving guidance. Whether you are looking to start meditating or deepen your meditation practice if you already have one, maybe you want to make it more fun, maybe you're looking to get more out of your meditation so that it makes more sense in your life, more helps you in your life more. Whether you're looking to awaken your intuitive abilities. So getting guidance for your life. I know that's a wonderful thing to have, right? When you get stuck in life, to be able to tap in at any moment to getting guidance. But so many of us, we have trouble trusting our guidance, or we're not sure if we're making it up, or we have trouble distinguishing, is this my fear? Is this my intuition? I don't know what to do. And we can spend years in that place. So wouldn't it be nice if you could really tap in, sit down, get clear, get guidance, or, maybe you're not sitting down, but in some way, have a reliable way to get your guidance through your own internal practice, through your own practice, meditation or whatever. So I'm here to share with you my top 5 tips, having meditated and practicing my intuitive skills since I was a teenager. These are my top 5. Okay, so the first one may surprise you. The first one is to feel good first. So what does that mean? It's counterintuitive because often when we want guidance, when we're really yearning for guidance, it's when we're in pain, right? When we're in the middle of, some sort of challenge in our life, whether it's somebody that criticized you or made a comment about you or something that happened at work that really upset you, whether it's a loss that you had, a loss of a loved one, a breakup of a relationship, whether it's a physical injury or something that sets you into survival. It's so easy in those moments to just be desperate and, want to grasp for answers, and you can't do anything until you get your answer or until you get your healing. And I've been there for sure. I remember, pining away for a guy, and in that moment, in the feeling of pain, trying to read tarot cards. And it wasn't very useful, unfortunately. It took me a long time to learn it, so I'm here to make it faster for you, hopefully. The trick about feeling good first is that the universe is all vibration. When we're asking for guidance, we are not only opening up to whether you believe in a higher power or spirit guides or your higher self, we're not only opening up to that information, we're actually participating in it by sending our vibration out. We're sending a broadcast out, and then it's like a wave comes back to us that aligns with our vibration and enhances it and gives us the next part, or the answer to our question. But it's not simply a question and answer. It's really, there's a feeling behind it. So if your feeling is pain, the answer you get won't be as helpful as if your feeling is pleasure, or at least peace and calm. Have you ever been there? When you're feeling good and you go, whether it's to acupuncture or a chiropractor or to a therapist or to talk to your friend about something, it's more productive somehow than if you're in a crisis. Sometimes when you're so much in pain, you're so locked up in your pain, you actually can't receive very much. So that's part of it. You just can't receive very much when you're in survival. The other part of it, when you're in pain, let's say, I've had clients in the past say, is my boyfriend cheating on me? And I'm so afraid, and they're in anxiety. And rather than just simply answering that question, which is coming from a place of pain, I'll give the person exercises to do, first to find their own center, their own power, their own self-worth, and so on. That's behind the core of all that. So in your own practice of meditation or opening up for guidance, I would say when you get into that place, which we all get into, of anxiety, pain, survival, what can you do before you ask for guidance to shift your energy? And it may be a meditation technique, and I teach those, or it may be going for a walk or taking a bath or getting a good night's sleep or having a decent meal, and then asking. So it makes a big difference in how much you can receive, and then the quality of the answer, the productivity of the response you get, the practical value of the response you get. Okay, tip number 2, turn on the TV. Not your TV that, plays, I don't even know what's on TV. I haven't had a TV, but not your regular TV. But in your mind, in your mind's eye, if you want to just do this with me for a second, if you want to close your eyes, close your eyes right now and picture out in front of you a TV screen, like, nice big flat screen that's clear, that's blank for now, a few feet out in front of you in your mind's eye, and just picture that. Notice that you can picture that. It's pretty easy to do. And then if you want to just ask, show me a color that represents, my higher self. Just imagine pushing a button, maybe pick your favorite number on the TV, remote. your higher self channel, your soul, and ask for color to show up. You can ask for a picture about something. You can say, okay, like what's the best way to go on, when I go to work today? Should I take the freeway or should I take the streets? Look for a picture. You could ask for a picture about another person, or what if I take this trip I'm thinking of? Let me see a picture of what's likely to happen. And just play with that. You can get pictures. What about this project? What about this person? Turn on your TV and let the picture come back to you. It's really that simple. And we can get, into more specific techniques that'll hone it and really fine tune that. But that's the gist of it. And a lot of people don't know you can just sit down and turn on the TV and ask for a picture about something and let it come to you. We often wait. A lot of times when we're new at exploring our intuition, we think it's just going to happen for us. We hope for a vision, or we hope we hear a voice in our head. And this, while that's nice when that happens, it can be disempowering to always wait for that and not know how to do it for yourself. So turn on the TV. Tip number 3, turn the radio dial in your head. So again, kind of a fun little game. A lot of what I teach is very playful, like using a lot of imagination, because when we do, we get out of our heads and we get more into the realm of spirit, which is boundless. There's no time, no space. We get out of our own way, our resistance drops away, and we open, and then more can happen. The creativity turns on and we can receive more. I've taught these techniques to kids and they were way faster than adults because they got creative and playful. So here's what the radio dial in your head is all about. Most of us, all day long, we're hearing things. Even if we don't think we're hearing things, like it's not like hearing a voice in your head, although you might hear voices in your head. I do. And I have for a long time. But we all have a lot of thoughts, happening all the time in our head. A lot of thoughts, a lot of projects, a lot of conversations in our head. And a lot of times it's not all ours. A lot of times it's like we have a voicemail on our phone, right, that gets filled. If, over months you don't ever clear out your voicemails, you build up a lot of voicemails. And that's, most of our heads are like, phones with so many voicemails and so many messages that are continuing to play that we may or may not need anymore. Maybe we needed them at one time, or maybe we didn't. Maybe it was thought somebody else projected our way. And sometimes all of us, over the years receive programming, whether it's from our parents, from school, from the government, from the media, from our friends, our community. We pick up programming. And so our mental broadcast, our mind is often taken up by all this so that we can't hear our own channel, so to speak. We can't hear our higher self. And tapping into your intuition and getting your own guidance involves being able to hear your higher self, or perhaps your guides. So what I like to do, and this is a really fun exercise, is I imagine a radio dial in my head. And I don't have to do it so often anymore, but I remember doing it a lot years ago. And, so there's a channel for mom, there's a channel for dad, there's a channel for your boss, there's a channel for your partner, there's a channel for your brother, sister, whoever, you may hear from a lot. There's a channel for your neighborhood, from the government, wherever you pick up energy. You can make up things. You don't have to figure out all the channels, by the way. It's just for the sake of analogy. So then pick your favorite number. And maybe it's 1111, channel 1111 on my dial, or 888, or whatever number you like. So turn your dial. When you notice your head is busy, like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking all these thoughts, I don't know where they're coming from. This doesn't feel like my thought. These thoughts are negative. If you get caught in these negative loops or obsessive thoughts, whenever you catch that, just turn your radio dial to your favorite station, to your higher self, and notice what happens. It's a playful thing, but it works. Okay, number 3. No, that was number 3. Number 4. Number 4 is make it up. Make it up. So you're more intuitive than you think. You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to get it perfect. All you have to do is really make it up. It sounds a little like I'm making it really easier. I'm dismissive of this art, which is, by the way, it is an art to fine-tune your intuition. But, the greatest masters of anything often teach simplicity. They emanate simplicity. They emanate ease and grace. Why is that? Because really all that other stuff is a lot of resistance. It's a lot of our ego. It's a lot of extra complication that makes us feel important. And it's not really adding anything. So usually, I know when I studied poetry, they would say first thought, best thought. Like, don't censor yourself too much. And I'm going to give you a specific story. So once I was teaching these two guys, I was teaching a class, but there were two guys in the class, and I was teaching them to do readings, clairvoyant readings with each other. And so the assignment was to imagine as one of them would say a name. So let's say, let's say it's Joe and Chris, just for the sake of names. So Joe said his father's name. Chris doesn't know Joe's father. So Joe said his father's name, and Chris looks at the picture, and I said, imagine a rose to represent this person whose name you just heard. So Chris is looking at this rose, and he's hearing this name of Joe's father, and he's supposed to look at a rose, and he's not seeing a rose. So he's like, I don't see, because I went over and checked on him. I'm like, how are you guys doing? He's like, I don't see a rose. I don't, what I'm seeing doesn't make any sense. And he was kind of embarrassed. He didn't want to say anything. And I'm like, well, that's okay. What do you see? He's like, oh, I just see these bizarre images. And I'm like, I kept nudging him along. Okay, well, what is it? Because you have to get curious like that, like a child. Like rather than trying to make it something, you just say, oh, what is it? Okay. So these bizarre images, he said, finally he blurted it out. He said, well, I see this car, and he named this specific car, and I see this Hawaiian shirt. And then Joe, jaw dropped open. He's like, oh my God, that's my dad's car, and he's going to Hawaii tomorrow. So if Chris hadn't trusted himself, if he wasn't in a class where there was this supportive environment to just say it because there's no pressure, nobody's paying you, nobody's expecting anything necessarily, he would have known how intuitive he was. So this is a lesson for all of us when we think we're making it up. And sometimes I still have to call my intuitive friends and say, I'm picking up this energy. Am I crazy? And they they validate me. It's nice to have community. It's nice to have support. We all need it from time to time. But make it up. Just have fun. Okay. So number 5, and this is my final tip for you, is to honor your uniqueness. So we all have unique ways of sensing energy. And I know I was told too to see. I was taught clairvoyance. I trained in clairvoyance and then many other things besides that. But when I was in my clairvoyant training, many times it would say, okay, look at a rose, or look at a picture, look at a color. And I would be hearing a message. And the person we were reading, I would say, well, I'm getting this. And I was a little bit ashamed that I was hearing and not seeing. But it makes sense because I was a poet and I was a songwriter. And so I was very auditory. So I've met people that don't necessarily see. Most people seem to be more visual, but not everybody. So some people say, I don't really see or hear, but I know it. And some other people feel it. So when you are asking for intuitive guidance, don't go by any rule book if you think it's supposed to come a certain way. If you think it's supposed to be a spirit guide that you channel and the voice changes, it's not necessarily. Sometimes, and actually most of the time, it's more subtle than you think. And we all have a unique gift. So rather than making yourself wrong for your gift, celebrate the way you see. Okay. So, the other thing, kind of a tag on to the last part, honor also your unique, what uniquely supports you. So what's going to support you in meditating? Again, there can be a lot of rules out there. We hear a lot of rules, like you're supposed to meditate on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, or you're supposed to meditate at night, or you're supposed to sit cross-legged or whatnot. I find for myself, it's better if I eat first so that I'm more present. If I haven't eaten, I'm kind of spacey. So if I followed that rule, I wouldn't get a good meditation. Sometimes it's diet, not only eating in and of itself, but like what you eat. So some people believe you should be vegetarian. I personally need to eat some meat, not every meal or anything, but I need to eat some meat. You might find you need superfoods or you need a cleaner diet to help you tune in. You might notice certain times of the day work better for you to meditate. So first thing in the morning, last thing before bed, lunchtime, when do you need to meditate, or where do you get the best results? Do you need to exercise first? I know the yogic teachers, they teach postures. They teach physical yoga postures, which is what most people think of as yoga, because a long time ago, the goal of the postures was to get the body comfortable enough to sit in meditation. They say most people can't go straight to meditation. So if you need to move your body, something to explore. And, just find what works for you. Honor your uniqueness. I find that meditating in a group can help. And a lot of my students say it's so much easier in class to meditate than it is alone. And sometimes for that reason, I even listen to my own recordings or other teachers that I like listening to. And I like to be guided sometimes too. Okay, so those are my tips for you. And if you would like to learn more and deepen your experience of meditation or awakening your intuition, you can go to floweringsoul.com and look under the Awaken Your Intuition tab and look for the upcoming Meditation 101 and other programs to enhance your abilities and have some fun and connect with some other like-minded people. So, see you there. Bye.